Дякую, Наталю. Слава Ісусу Христу! Мені дуже приємно бути сьогодні з вами. Насамперед, дозвольте подякувати Наталі, Тетяні, вашій управі Українського конгресового комітету Америки, що запросили мене. А по-друге, подякувати вам як організація, як також і громада. Я роз'їжджаю по Америці, виступаю в таких громадах і вас. І все вас вживаю як прикладом спеціально ті нові громади, які виростають в Америці. Як організація, вже сказала Наталя, ми представляємо інтереси 2-мільйонної громади українців, які проживають в Америці. Але ви є прикладом для багато з них, бо ви єдино працюєте, ви тяжко працюєте, ви маєте зв'язки з своїми представниками, своїми конгресменами, своїми сенаторами. А тим більше дивіться, що ви робите, допомагати нашим братам і сестрам в Україні, яким найбільше потреба. Так що велика вдячність вам, велике спасибі. Дякуємо і будемо далі вам допомагати. It's an honor for me to be here today as president of the largest and only Ukrainian umbrella organization. We represent over 2 million Americans of Ukrainian descent throughout the entire United States. We have over 45 chapters like yourselves here in Georgia. And we have over 36 national organizations that belong to us. We try to coordinate all our activity so that you have the resources to work within your own communities, to have the resources to advocate for Ukraine with your members of Congress, with your Senate, with the administration, with your governors. And that, as I just said in Ukrainian, as I travel the country and I speak to various communities, I always use this Georgia chapter as an example. Why? Because you are hardworking, you are unified, you work with all interests, you work closely, and you meet with your representatives, you meet with your officials, you meet with your elected office holders. And look what you have done as a branch in terms of raising funds for what is needed in Ukraine. Sometimes I break down when I see these pictures. I think we are all of the same mindset that we work 24/7. We don't sleep, we don't eat, and we see the pictures that were shown. I just returned from a trip to the Ukrainian border with 4 US senators, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. They went jointly to see what was happening and the tragedy that was occurring. When we were at the border and we saw 50,000 people cross in Medyka in Poland, we had the opportunity to speak to many of them, children, mothers, grandmothers. And when our senators asked them a question as to what else can we do, what can we do to help you, they responded in 2 ways. First and foremost, close our skies, protect us. Protect us from the missiles, protect us from the bombs. And secondly was, just make sure we get home as quickly as possible. We don't want to stay in Europe, we don't want to stay in the United States. We want to go back home to our villages. We need to plant our potatoes. And that's the spirit of the Ukrainians that are fighting for their freedom, for their independence. But they're not fighting only for Ukraine, they're fighting for the free, democratic world. So when we advocate with our members of Congress, when we advocate with the White House, and I just came back from a meeting in the White House 2 weeks ago, our argument is that Ukraine is fighting for the whole free, democratic world. And it is in the national security interest of the United States to provide Ukraine with every single possible weapon they can. The Ukrainian army, the Ukrainian soldiers are showing the world what they can do if they have the weapons. They're defending themselves and they're defending the world. So what do we need to do? I ask you to continue being involved. Continue working with your members of Congress and the Senate. Continue to urge them to provide Ukraine with all the necessary weapons they need to, including the fighter jets that Poland is trying to offer them. We need to close the sky. Number two is, Putin is a war criminal. This is genocide against the Ukrainian nation. The killing of innocent women, children, civilians. This is war crimes, and we need to bring Putin, we need to bring his cronies, we need to bring the Russian government to the tribunal in The Hague so that they be prosecuted for the war crimes they are committing against the Ukrainian nation. What else can you do? Continue talking to your local media. Talk to your American neighbors. Make sure that the narrative is proper. We cannot allow for any Russian disinformation. We cannot allow for their false flag operations to in any way have an influence on the support that we are getting. You take a look at the policies of our U.S. Congress and Senate. There are major differences, there are major fights, but there is only one issue that they agree on, and that is Ukraine and giving Ukraine the tools. When 100 members of the U.S. Senate vote 100-0, and in the House, I believe it was 6 individuals who voted against giving weapons and expedite them to Ukraine, you know that the bipartisan Congress is behind us. I want to acknowledge the performers. I want to acknowledge them for picking the right tones for all of us to understand what is happening. I urge you to continue supporting Natalia and Ukakaz, the UCCA's branch here. You are making a difference with every penny you make. I ask you to stand united. I ask you to continue to make sure that the truth is spread, not only here in Georgia, but anywhere you are, with whoever you can communicate. God bless America. Slava Ukraini.
Can I give you a hug, please?